right, so as we move on with our program, remember I did say that we're taking notes, and then after this batch of 3, we then do the question and answer session with all 3 of our presenters, right? So we're going to now look at wealth management and generational wealth planning, and this is going to be presented to us by Norman Mudadi, who is with Devere Group Zimbabwe, and of course he has vast experience in this. I won't go into his profile, but please give Norman a round of applause and thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's unfortunate, you know, when you step into the foot of giants, it's very difficult. The presentation that you just witnessed from the chairman of Westbrook, oh my word, he blew it away. Now I have to present after him. What a task, isn't it? Okay, I'll do my best. I think the subject matter has been exhausted. Do you agree with me? We have had since yesterday powerful presentations from the Master of the High Court. We had presentations from More Mutual. We had presentations from NASA. NASA was today. And then today, my brother, Mr. Zuza, came with a powerful presentation. So I think wealth management has been done justice. So my presentation will be on another aspect of wealth management. I won't go into what you have already been told. I'm glad that the chairman of Westbrook, when he ended, he says, take your fate into your own hands. Is that what you said? Something like that. So you must control your own fate, isn't it? So I'm speaking, my name is Norman I work with Devere. I'm an economist and private wealth manager internationally. I'm not marketing anything, but if you feel you also need an international portfolio, in international bank account, property in the UK, Dubai, structured notes, all those international investments, if you have appetite for those, you can speak to me. Let's go to the first slide, Chief. Oh, it's here. So I'm just going to talk about problems with unfunded retirement liabilities. Unfunded retirement liabilities, unfortunately, the world over is in debt. So when economies are in debt, usually you look at the heartbeats of economies, which is finance, pension companies, insurance companies, small pension funds, like sector-specific pension funds. Most of the time they're in debt, and when you are a member of these funds, you may not realize it. So why? Because the fate is not in your hands. Usually the funds are being managed by someone else. So unfunded refers to a financial arrangement that has been agreed to, but there's not enough financial resources allocated to it. This is what usually happens when CEOs get their contracts. I'm just talking to US CEOs, probably employed or employing. It also touches you. So pensions and other post-employment benefits give rise to non-current liabilities not reported by many companies. When companies promise its employees certain benefits after a certain period of time, they are obligated to fulfill this promise. So here is what happens when you get a job as a CEO. The contract is drawn up, isn't it? You negotiate your package, and I'm sure you also negotiate your severance package. So you agree that when I leave, you guys are going to give me so much, isn't it? But this is just on paper, unfortunately, and most of the times companies do not show it on their books that we owe Mr. Zuze in 5 years' time 400,000 is payable as is severance. Usually it does not, companies do not, I haven't seen any corporates that report on their pension or severance liabilities. Maybe if someone has, but I haven't seen, I've tried to look, I haven't seen that. So it's actually a liability that the organization is not declaring, but it will arise at some point. So what are these retirement liabilities that you guys as CEOs expect to come face to face on retirement? I think this is generally your standard of living. Your standard of living today is just the present value of your future lifestyle, isn't it? Because you would want to maintain the same lifestyle in your retirement. There are several reasons why people go on retirement. I'll touch a few in the next slides. But I believe at some point, whether you are running your company or you are working for someone else's company, you at some point say, okay, I think I need to step back. So you want to maintain a certain level of standard of living. So those are the liabilities. Pension plans are typically classified as either fully funded, underfunded, or overfunded based on whether the assets exceed, meet, or fall short of the liabilities. This is very, very, very pertinent. Accountants who are here will tell you if your assets and liabilities are not equal, then it's either you are broke or you are rich, depending on which is greater, isn't it? So even if you look at Europe today, we do a lot of these international savings in the UK, in the Isle of Man. The British government is actually in pension debt as we speak. So pension debt simply refers to a situation where your pension manager or fund manager or whoever is taking care of your pension money, the assets that they have on their books are less than the liabilities of pension. What am I saying, for example? In the UK, what's happening is people are now, because of the standard of living, people are now exceeding the expected life expected, what do you call them? Life expectations. The term limit, is it?
Life expectancy.
Yes. So now what has happened is the UK government finds itself in a situation where they now have to be paying more people than ordinarily they would have budgeted for when they sit to come up with these pension structures. So they're in pension debt, and many pension funds now are almost hand to mouth. Somebody spoke about, I think it's my brother from NASA, that NASA is a pay-as-you-go pension scheme. So it means those first in, first out, okay? So that is pension debt. I can't see anything now, something's happening. Let me do it this way. Public and private organizations with significant pension debt will face financial strain which impacts budgets and funding for new projects. Imagine your CEO is leaving this year and is supposed to be paid $500,000. From your operating expenses, you find yourself with a financial obligation of such a large chunk of money. It will impact on the business operating capital. Right. So the statement of the problem, I will not go into open discussion. I planned us to discuss. Executives' retirement contracts usually provide executives with an all-employer contributed retirement benefit offered. It just depends with the organizations and how you negotiate. Okay, these are just figures. Don't be scared of them. It's just for illustration purposes. So when you when you negotiate your contract, you get your contract, some companies will give you a golden handshake. You discuss your severance package and you agree. This is where usually the problem starts and you may not realize it. Because boards of companies change over time, isn't it? So you get to Peter and Company and you are appointed as their CEO, and then we shake hands, we agree. Mr. Zuze is the board chairman, he offers you a very good package. And then 5 years down the line, Mudadi comes in with his team and they are reviewing now their liabilities and they say, who negotiated this contract? And then they start to give you problems. We can't afford to pay this kind of money, so we have to renegotiate, things like that. So this is where usually the problem starts from the onset, where these issues are treated like minor issues. So these are some of the examples when Elon Musk took over Twitter. When he got there, he went through the company's liabilities in terms of the executives that's there, and then he was saying, no, there's no way I'm going to pay this kind of money. McDonald's did the same. Imagine the CEO was actually paid £40 million, and when the new board came, they wanted to claw back the money. They said, no, give us back some of the money. You were overpaid. So these issues arise. Well, I removed some of the local ones, but there was a City of Harare issue as well that's related to these unfunded liabilities. So the risk of unfunded retirement liabilities, both to you as the CEO and also to the company itself, these are some of the risks. There are many. The company exposed themselves to litigation because you have got a contract that says you must be paid a certain amount, but then what happens is the company fails to pay because usually it will be a lot of money, and due to business cycles, you know, a company can give you a very good retirement package or even a package when you join them, but now you find business cycles are not constant. This probably will be a time when they are at the peak in terms of their business cycle. They are making a lot of money, there is lots and lots of business. But then by the time you retire, the business cycles have shifted. A lot of things happen in between. There's new competition, new technology, and then the company finds itself in a situation where it cannot settle Mr. Gundan's package. This is where the problems comes. Pension assets of the company must always be equal to the benefits the company has promised to pay. Executive contracts usually take a large portion of retirement account, risking the company into pension debt. So I think there are accountants in the house and actuaries. These are some of the things that do not appear on paper, but it's actually a risk to the business that is carried, especially for companies that are top heavy. They always find themselves in trouble because of these unfunded liabilities. Later on in the slides that are coming, I will actually show you how you can avoid this on a win-win situation between yourself and the company. So I think this is just to reinforce cost to the company. Unfunded pension liabilities drop thresholds. I think I have touched this. Let me move on to other slides. Are you following me? Yes. Because sometimes when people are too quiet, it's either they are confused or they are understanding. This is just an example to show the cost sometimes of failing to provide funds for these liabilities. When they arise, you may be under pressure and end up borrowing and you pay more. So if you borrow, for example, at 15% with the sort of lending rates here in Zimbabwe, I think it's here in Zimbabwe to go as far as 30%, you end up paying a lot more than you would have paid if you had adopted the model that I'm thinking of explaining in my next slide. So this is the cost where a company would have paid 500,000, they end up paying 575,000 if they borrow. But these costs can also be avoided if the company had planned before. Self-invested pension plan, the SIPP. So the insurance and pension industry allows people to actually take matters into their hands, both companies and individuals. So self-invested pension plans allows individuals to have control over their retirement savings. It allows individuals to create their own diversified personal portfolios, investment options, including stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, property, and alternative investments. SIPPs offer tax benefits as they are an allowable deduction on the individual's earning. So here is the thing. If the company, suppose it's your company or you are employed as a CEO, and then you adopt to say, okay, let's get into a SIPP. Instead of us waiting for Norman to retire in 10 years' time, and then we start to talk about his package. Why can't we pay a small amount over time? Instead of forking out $500,000 one time or 100,000, whatever amount it is, there is always the option to pay as you go. I'll touch that model, I think, in the next slide. Okay. So here I'm just looking at the risk management when making investment decisions. I think this is critical for you guys as CEOs. Some of you sit on boards, you evaluate investment proposals. It is actually very, very important to actually be in a position to look at a proposal and say, no, we're not going to put our money in this investment or this investment. We can invest it. So risk management is the application of thought to minimize, monitor, and control the probability or impact of unforeseen events. The first step is to identify potential risks that could affect your investment. Assess the risk to determine the likelihood of occurrence. This we can do qualitatively and quantitatively. I won't get into that. This is something you can sit with your advisors or financial advisors to probably keep, so it might require its own conference to really share what we know about the toolkits of qualitative risk management and quantitative. But these are some of the types of risk that I can share with you so that you can have an appreciation when you want to evaluate risk or make a decision on what you are investing in. Because it is very, very important to understand at least what you are investing in. So you can categorize risks into types. There is more, but these are some of the few that I have selected. Systematic risk, this is the risk that is inherent in the system, and it affects the entire market, which cannot be eliminated. So you are looking at economic recession, you are also looking at political instability and natural disasters. These are things that you have no control over, but can actually affect your investment. And systematic risk, this is the risk that is unique to a particular company. So it's always important when you choose the company you want to invest your money with, or the fund manager you want to choose, because unsystematic risk is very difficult for you to determine, because this is the risk that is inherent within that organization. So human behavior, wrong management decisions, many times people lose their money because the companies, they failed actually to come up with an investment philosophy that protects what? Your interests. Market risk, this is the risk of losses through changes in market prices or interest rate. I think we are very familiar with this one because usually when we have a monetary policy statement, there are changes on the interest rates. When the central bank is engaging its OMO activities in the market, then prices tend to just go up and down. So you want to have that kind of information. Operational risk, the loss due to failed internal processes, systems, fraud, or mismanagement. So you can trust a company with your money or investment, but the internal processes are actually the most important protection for your investment funds. How you can do your research to determine this is now up to you as someone who will be deciding. Liquidity risk, the risk of being unable to sell an asset quickly enough to prevent a loss to meet financial obligations. So in theory, as an individual, you must have your own investment philosophy. So you can choose assets so you can choose various assets to put into your investment portfolio. Okay, it's believe me, it's not a lot. You can start with, you can have a bit of property, you can have a bit of stocks, you can have a bit of bonds, you can have a bit of, just a bit of these investment assets, so that you have a balanced and a personal investment portfolio. This is actually very helpful. If you go all in one asset, and if that asset fails, it will give you problems in future because your investment is not hedged. So it's always good to spread your assets around many investment options. Mutual funds, you can pick commodities, you can pick property, you can pick structured notes, so that you have a balanced investment portfolio. Economic risk, this is also important. The risk associated with economic conditions of a country that affect the financial performance of an investment. This is very, very important because during times of economic instability, you want assets that hedge against fluctuations, isn't it? So you most likely go to land, I think, if you have an opportunity. Recently, the central bank, is it last year when they introduced the gold coin? I thought it was a good initiative, although the uptake was not that inspiring, but I thought it was a good initiative to hedge some of these investments with gold. And I was thinking local insurance companies were going to come up with a short-term product that is hedged with this kind of assets. Because now to me as an investor, it makes a lot of sense. Because if I'm paying a small, maybe a premium, and then it's going into decanted small amounts of gold, and I know that when the investment matures, then I can easily sell off and then I get paid. So these are some of the things that we are obviously looking for the big boys of finance or mutual and them to come up with some of these things locally so that we can jump onto them, because it is just a security problem. So this is the pay-as-you-go model. It's been adopted all over. We have done quite a number of structures all over Africa. We have an office in Ghana, we have an office in Botswana, we have an office in South Africa, Zambia, this Nairobi. This model is helping companies because, for example, when the company says from the onset, okay, we start to pay your severance package into a savings account from the onset. What it means is that if you agree that your severance is 200,000, because you know when you when you actually get engaged. Then you work backwards to say, this means you are putting 3,000 into a saving account for me. In that way, you are in control of the contract that you have with the company. So as each year passes, you can view the balance on your SIPP to say, okay, this year 36,000, nice. Next year, so much, so much, so much. So when the time comes where you are now saying, gentlemen, my contract expires, or if anything happens, things happen, then already your money is in your controlled account. Than to then start to negotiate at the end, and then you find yourself now in problems. Even the guys who have who are running their businesses, who wants to leave their children, Mr. Suze with the business. I think it's actually it makes sense for you to start paying off yourself from your business now. Okay, if you think you're going to leave the business in 5 years or 10 years, you can actually, this is not working, eh? You can actually say, okay, guys, as we are working, I'm going to leave you this company, but the company must be putting 2,000 aside for my retirement for the next 10 years. So that when the time actually comes, you don't have to now say, okay, how much do we have? I want to take 50, I want to take 100. It is already being provided in a manner that doesn't give any stress to your finances as a business, but it is a pay-as-you-go model. Does that sound good? I think it does. So the advantages of a pay-as-you-go model is cost-effective. It does not really strain the finances of the business. It does not really strain the relationship between you and the company, because you can shake hands at the end and say, okay, the company has taken good care of me. And I think for executives, this is simply the way to go, because the risk of walking out with nothing, I won't mention names, but I'm a member of Royal Harare Golf Club. If anyone is a member, they know what I'm talking about. Senior people that we have seen, he was in this organization, he was in this organization. But it's said that sometimes they struggle after all those years. It's simply because you did not give the opportunity to the company you work for to pay you when you were there slowly. It's easier for a business to be putting my 3,000 or 2,000 somewhere than for you to then be asking for 300,000 when the time comes. So those are some of the advantages of the pay-as-you-go model. This is an example. I will not go into it. So this one is an international savings plan where this client was doing 10 years, 3.5 a month. The company was paying at the median rate of 5%, which is like the lowest that you can get annually. 5% internationally really is good. It's different from our own scenario. The maturity value would be 650,000 US. The company's own contribution will be 420, which represents a 64.6% compounding return for the period. So you see how easy you can accumulate wealth. It just goes back to the same principle of saving. Okay, many of the presenters were talking about wealth, but we may want to ask ourselves, is the money there that we are talking about? So sometimes you want to create wealth over time. Unless if you're going to win a lotto, or unless you are a juggler or something, or a genius, I'm going to hit a big score at some point. But if you are like me, I would prefer to be putting money aside month in, month out over a period of time. Then if I have 650,000 over 10 years, wow, I can now go to Westbrook and say, okay, I want to be in the hills. Then we can start talking, isn't it? So that will be my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. Those who have questions at the end, you can ask me. Those are my contacts. If anyone is interested in anything international, then we can talk from there. Thank you so much for giving me your time. Oh, Mike.
Norman, I give you a mic and to dispose of it.
No,
Okay, where are you going? Which center? Can I please have my gift? Hmm? Oh, sorry. Gibson, hello. It's your time to shine. You've never received gifts, eh?
Yes.
All right. Please give him another round of applause. I have trauma from these microphones, honestly. But how interesting is that model? Give your employer an opportunity to pay you while you're still working. Is it practical? Is it practical? Have we lost you? Hello? Hi? Are you still with us?
Yes.
We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. We have one more to go and we'll be done. So let's just keep up that energy. I'm asking you, do you think it's practical? Does it work? Or does it just work in theory? Does it work? So if I say to my employer, hi Gibson, if I say to my employer, please pay me as I'm still employed, that way when I'm going, I'm just saying bye.
Goodbye.
You don't owe me, I don't owe you, we're done, we're happy.
Yes.
What do you think, boss?